overthinking. I think we need more thinking.
Chris Finch, complaining and crying to the refs, made sure that Murray didn't get any foul calls. That is 110% on him. Murray still made 30 points, though. You can't stop the Blue Arrow.
Let's try to get healthy. Let's stay together. And if we can do that, we put ourselves in a good situation.
And over the shoulder, no looker.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome. I'm CS Chandler, here for another take of Nuggets basketball. I'm back, as you can see, back in my man cave, the studio, if you will. Thank you for your patience and all the support that you've been sharing with my posts as it's been over this past week that I've been gone, and really sucked that I wasn't able to let out a episode about Game 1, because, man, Game 1. I want to talk about Game 1 for just a minute, because what we're going to talk about next ain't fun. So let's just talk about something that's fun, right? Nuggets got that win, and that was a great way to start this series. And I don't care. I do care what happened in this game, but in Game 2. But Game 1, that was what sets the tone for the rest of the series, essentially. And if you remember, the last time the Nuggets matched up with the Timberwolves in 2024, they lost Game 1 and Game 2 at home. Not this time. There's no way that the Timberwolves can get a sweep over the Nuggets now. And so all of you Timberwolves fans, all you Lakers fans, all of you OKC fans, all of you Spurs fans, basically anyone saying that the Timberwolves were going to sweep the Nuggets in 4, y'all don't know ball. The Nuggets are clearly way better this season than they've been the last 2 seasons. They've managed their energy and they've gone through hell. They have managed, despite getting injured this season, they have been able to push through with nothing but grit, heart, and just the experience of being in this situation before. These other teams, they haven't been that. So never count the Nuggets out, man. That is my big thing with the Nuggets. Never count the Nuggets out. Like I said in my last episode, and the one that, on the road, never count the Nuggets out. We've all done it this season. I've even been guilty of almost, pretty much doing it. But the Nuggets know who they are. They have been very successful this season. 3rd seed is not a loss. And this has just been a great matchup to really watch between these two teams. Some people are crashing out and saying, man, why did you want the Timberwolves? I don't want the Timberwolves, or whatever. Those are the traumatized fans, the ones that continue to think about Game 7 in 2024 against the T-Wolves. This is a completely different year, y'all. This was a completely different year. You had the Nuggets in 5 on the chip year, and now you have the this Game 7. Now, it could very well go back down to a Game 7, but I don't think it will. I think that the Nuggets getting this first win was huge for them. And it definitely, like I said, it set the tone. Yes, they, if you don't know, I'm going to get into it. Game 2 was a dud. It started off great, but it was a dud. But there's still more. This is why you have a 7-game series, right? And I still think the Nuggets can close this up in 5 or 6 games. And so the Nuggets, the big thing coming off of that Game 1, Murray shot 16 free throws, okay? And so many T-Wolves fans, including the players and the coach for that team, have done nothing but cry about it, instead of rewatching the clips where he's actually fouled. And then they forget the fact that several of those foul calls or those free throws that he shot were based on technical free throws. So if y'all don't freaking say bad shit to the refs or unsportsmanlike conduct stuff, then Murray's not going to shoot those free throws. So that's on you. That's on you, Timberwolves. So stop complaining. And the refs have been atrocious for both teams. I want to point that out right now. I have seen bad calls against the T-Wolves as well. So I'm not discrediting the fact that y'all have had some bad calls or no calls made, but there has just been really like the fouling isn't so much of an issue because it affects both teams, at least in game 1. And then in game 2, it was a different scenario because you had Chris Finch complaining about those foul calls. DA then heard about it and he responded and said, well, if you watch the game again and you look at what Murray went through, he was actually fouled. So, and then Chris Finch heard about that. He had a rebuttal and say, well, then maybe we should all be floppers. That, like, any kind of respect, and I had a huge amount of respect after Finch crashed out against the OKC and pretty much changed the rest of the season on how OKC was officiated for the rest of that season. And that was definitely all due to Finch. So definitely props to him. But now you've lost all my respect. When you call Murray a flopper, when you call Jokic a flopper, you've lost all my respect. There is no one who gets a worse whistle in this league than Nikola Jokic. And he has the scars to prove it. So when Chris Finch does that, because he's a veteran head coach, the league tends to listen to him. And this game, the Nuggets had a chance to really claim the series with this game 2. And heading into it, because Chris Finch cried and bawled for the foul calls, this game was differently officiated. So, we're going to get into it, but there's just, you can't focus too much on that. You got to focus on the playing. And the T-Wolves were gassed in that first game. They let the game affect them to a point where they started to get frustrated and make tantrums. You had McDaniels pushing Jokic, unsportsmanlike. You had Randall getting too aggressive with AG and going for his back, unsportsmanlike. So you had several of those things. You can pretty much say the T-Wolves are the bad boy T-Wolves. They are an unsportsmanlike team that is trying to get some kind of response and affect the other team, now the Nuggets, into getting reactionary. And the great thing about the Nuggets in game 1 was that it didn't let that happen. They took that as a challenge and they responded back. That was beautiful. So going into this game, P-Watt remained out, and I really don't know when we're going to see P-Watt. I doubt you're going to see him in this series. It's kind of looking like that. 2 games are down now. I mean, if it goes to 7 games, maybe you see him in game 7, but I don't think we're going to see P-Watt. Starting lineup was Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Cam Johnson, AG, and Jokic. Nuggets were wearing their Mile High City Edition jerseys. T-Wolves are wearing their white jerseys, and the T-Wolves won. They even up the series. 119 to 114 is your final score. It's a frustrating loss, not going to lie. It's definitely a frustrating loss, but there's still some hope. And not just some hope, there's a lot of hope. Series is tied now. Okay. That's better than being down 2. That's better than being down 3, Series is tied. Okay, even out. Now, Nuggets need to go on and win the next 3. So, what happened in this game? Let's break it down for you. So, the T-Wolves, they won the tip. And they won the tip in the first game, too. For some reason, Jokic has just not been getting off the ground very well lately. Like he normally has been able to win the tip. He just has been very un-Jokic-like lately, especially in the beginning of the games. And he did have an amazing dunk in this game, which was just lit. It was freaking awesome to watch him dunk on Gobert. Of course, it was a rebuttal to Gobert dunking on him, but awesome to see that he can get up when he wants to, and we need to have that fired up Jokic, because this right now it kind of feels like he's a little bit too laid back, and we need to see him a little bit more fired up. Luckily, after winning the tip, Randall misses the first shot, and Jamal on the other side sinks a three for the first bucket of the game. And that set the tone for the first quarter, because the Nuggets just lit up the Timberwolves. They did have a couple of turnovers quickly, but then they quickly cleaned things up. Ant responded off of that first make from Jamal with his own three. But then they just lit it up, the Nuggets did, from beyond the arc. And they just kept on. It seemed like they couldn't miss. The first quarter was a masterclass from the Nuggets. It was just beautiful to watch. It really felt like we were going to sweep the Timberwolves. And Nuggets got 2 4-point plays. One by Murray, one by Tim Hardaway Jr. It was unbelievable. Then they got a couple of 3-point plays. Like, it really felt like the Nuggets were letting the game come to them, and they were just being, they were playing well together. They were passing the ball to the open man. They were throwing the defense off. Tim Hardaway Jr. had back-to-back game-saving plays, one diving into the crowd for an out-of-bounds ball that then got picked off, and then he saves it once again with a charge. And then Nuggets just really had it out for the Timberwolves. And they outscored the Timberwolves 39-25 in that first quarter. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This was the response that we wanted, because especially after that first loss for the T-Wolves, I should say, you expected them to come out with a lot more aggressive energy. And instead, the Nuggets came out with an even more aggressive energy, and they attacked with a swarming defense and caused multiple turnovers. It just looked like they were cooking the T-Wolves. Then the quarter two happened. No non-Jokic minutes, right? They start off with a lineup of Jamal Murray, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, Bruce B, and Big Val. Big Val had some horrible minutes, I'm going to say. A lot of people were giving him heck for the game one. I think that Big Val was great in game one. I do not fault him at all. Yes, he had a couple of fouls. That's not really, I think, intentional for him. And if a couple of them were, but they were good fouls, I think. But this time, he had a couple of, he wasn't really boxing out. And then he had a couple of bad turnovers. And so, however, Tim Hardaway Jr. starts the quarter off still hot. He gets the first bucket of the quarter with a made three. Refs then equalize the game with some poor ticky-tack fouls on both ends, allows T-Wolves to claw right back into single digits after being down by 14. They actually they got down by as much as 19, and then they clawed themselves back out with help from a lot of ticky-tack fouls, like I'm saying. Like, it was just really bad. Nuggets offense starts to go a little bit cold, and we've seen this before. And if anything, I would say game two was a complete mirror of what game one was. In game one, you had the T-Wolves starting off hot in the first quarter, and then the Nuggets slowly chipped it away, and they came back to win it in the clutch. This time around, it was the T-Wolves down, and then in the first quarter, and then built up to claim it in the clutch. T-Wolves then, after giving up the first 5 points in this quarter, go on a 11-0 run. Jokic checks back in and immediately gives space for Murray, who drills a jumper to end the T-Wolves run. Game tempo goes too fast for the Nuggets, though, and they start to get a little bit too panicky. They put up shots without really even settling in and just go for some no dips, and they rim out, or they completely brick, or they are no air balls. I mean, it was really brutal to watch. However, the T-Wolves are kind of doing the same thing, although they were getting a little bit more luckier with their shot making. Ant then falls down and trips Jamal Murray, and they call a loose ball foul on Jamal, which was just insane because Ant fell. He was the one that tripped Murray. And yet Murray was the one getting called with the foul. So they looked at it. DA has to challenge it, which was just bullshit to begin with. He shouldn't have had to challenge it. They should have already reversed it. But he challenges it. It's successful only because they changed the foul to Aaron Gordon instead of Jamal. Apparently, Aaron Gordon from the video looks like he pushes Ant, which was really just a light hand on the back, and of course Ant exaggerates it, falls into Murray, but still successful challenge. Better than an unsuccessful, I guess. You get to keep your timeout, and then you get a second challenge later on. Ant then gives the T-Wolves some of the lead with 59-58, but then Yoke gets the Nuggets first to 50. Cam then rocks the rim to tie the game up at 55. Murray then ties it back up after they fall back down again. In the final buzzer beater seconds, Murray shoots a half-court shot heave, ties the game up at 64. And it looked like the Nuggets were going to win this. I'm telling you, that first half looked like we were going to win it. T-Wolves outscored the Nuggets still 39-25. Complete tale of two quarters. Nuggets outscored the T-Wolves in the first 39-25. T-Wolves outscored the Nuggets 39-25. So we're even at 64 in the half. Third quarter, crazy start from both teams, unable to get the bucket to drop before Jamal finally hits a three to get the first bucket of the quarter. Officiating looks like it's really still on a break in the half, and they really don't even call horrible fouls from both teams. You had one, I think it was Bones got fouled for sure. They didn't give it a call. And then on the other end, you had no calls for, going on CB and Aaron Gordon. And even Jamal Murray got mugged. No call. And then on the other end, a light tap on, on Randall sends him to the line. Just ridiculous. He's awarded with 2 free throws. And then Jokic completely takes over. This is where we've seen it before. We saw it in game 1. He waits to conserve his energy into the second half, which sometimes actually works for the Nuggets. You have Jamal going hot in the first half, really, and then Jokic takes over in the second half. And this allows them to kind of distribute the energy and make the game more attainable for them. This, however, Jokic didn't fully take. He took over in this quarter, but he didn't really take over overall in the second half. But he did rack up 14 points in 9 minutes. Near double-double, really, because he also had 6 rebounds by this time. Almost had a double-double in 9 minutes. Unreal. He actually would end up with, would you call it, a Belgrade triple-double? Or Belgrade double-double? Because he ends up with 24, 15, and 8, which I believe is when it's 2 stat points away from a triple-double. That's what Chris Marlowe calls it. So we're going to call it that. Tim then misses some uncharacteristic free throws, which is really crazy. He typically is one of the best free throws the Nuggets team squad has. It's him and Jamal. And he misses really, he got fouled in the corner pocket for 3 and made 1 of 3. It's crazy because today, I went to the NAB convention here in Vegas, which, if you don't know, is more of a broadcasting and cinema and new media convention. In the lobby area for the West Hall in there, they had a little Amazon Prime, or no, it was AWS, their cloud thing. They had set up 2 half courts. For basketball for someone to shoot free throws. So I tried it out and I shot 3 free throws, and they give you this little, if I can stand here, they give you this little card afterwards. They spell my name wrong. It's like one word. It's Chris Chandler instead of Chris Chandler. They also got my height wrong. They put me at 5'8", and then it says that I shot 50%. I didn't shoot 50%. I shot 1 of 3. So that's, but that was kind of cool. It also kind of sucks that this was the only option for a jersey was the Raptors. I begged them for a Nuggets jersey. They said they don't have it. This was all Raptors. So it's still kind of fun, but, just being in a public area trying to shoot free throws definitely affected you. So to imagine being a professional with thousands of people, the spotlight on you. I always do have so much respect for these professionals when they miss free throws. Yes, you got to make those free throws. You are a professional, so you should be making them. But in these key moments, it is very understandable that these guys will miss them. So Jamal, then he spends too much time in the final seconds of the quarter, trying to drain the clock. He gets double teamed, forces the turnover, and gives up the possession. Nuggets still outscored the T-Wolves, though, 29-26 in that quarter. Fourth quarter, Nuggets started off the quarter with a lineup of Jamal, Brucey B, Aaron Gordon, Spencer Jones, and Cam Johnson. We wouldn't see Big Val again. They were too traumatized from the bad minutes, I guess, in the second quarter. So he doesn't get another chance to redeem himself. Hopefully he gets one in the third in the game 3 there. But Nas then leads the T-Wolves with back-to-back foul plays. Brucey B then hits a back-to-back threes. However, Nas would also hit threes. It was kind of like they were going back and forth a little bit, the two of them, in a shootout. Murray then with a floater over Gobert gets Nuggets first to 100. DA then has to use another challenge, his final challenge, on an out-of-bounds call. And there was actually a out-of-bounds call in the third period that was 100% off of the Timberwolves. Adelman doesn't challenge it. The refs don't reverse it. Though when you look at the play, it was clearly off of the Timberwolves. Still, Timberwolves are gifted that possession. Here again, they tried to gift that possession to the Timberwolves again, and DA has to use his challenge to force them to look at it. And of course, it's deemed out on Timberwolves, so it's a successful challenge. Leads Cam to getting a layup. So overall, was a good challenge, but was one that they should never have had to make because it was already clearly off of the Timberwolves. Nuggets then looking gassed, and this is what I'm talking about. Game 1, the Timberwolves looked gassed by the third quarter. Now it was the Nuggets in the third quarter. So they looked gassed, aren't able to hustle for the 50-50 balls or collect the rebounds. Finch calls a challenge on a foul that from McDaniels to CB on a transition dunk. And a lot of T-Wolves fans were chirping online saying that wasn't a foul. It's a foul, okay? If you're a Timberwolves fan watching up until now and you haven't turned this off, it's a foul. And it wasn't a foul the way that Tony Brothers said it. I think Tony Brothers was looking for a different way to make sure that it was still upheld because he's got an ego on him and doesn't want to admit when he's wrong. He wasn't wrong, but he was wrong about the foul that was called because there was no knee-to-knee contact in the jumping up, which is what Tony Brothers said. McDaniels does have the hand on the stomach, which is not legal. You can't push from the stomach on the offensive player. So that's where the foul happened. It was a foul. Still, gives McDaniels the 5th foul of the game and then sends CB to the line. And this was a chance for CB to tie the game up. And he misses one of the free throws. Gets one of 2. Adelman then opts for a lineup of Brucey B, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, CB, and Jokic in the final 19 seconds of the game. Down 1. And this is a lineup that I wrote it down here because this was the perfect lineup that if you're going to form a defensive lineup for the Nuggets, this is exactly the lineup that I would have wanted no matter what. The only one that I might have switched out maybe would be Jamal or CB instead for Cam Johnson. But I still love this lineup. And they immediately foul Randall in that. So he goes to the line, hits the free throws, extends that lead to 3. And then Nuggets had a chance to tie it up again. They missed their 2 chances I think they had. They missed both of them. T-Wolves outscored the Nuggets 29-21, and T-Wolves tie the series up again. Final score 119-114. So there is a precedence of Finch post losing a game, crying about fouls, and in the next game, the game is completely favored for the Timberwolves. At first, it looked like this wasn't the case. The Nuggets got off to a good start, but then slowly, as Finch continued to shout and cry to the refs listened. Suddenly, the Nuggets started to get into panic mode as every move they made led to a foul. Nuggets became reactionary and frantic instead of controlled and letting the game come to them. Jokic waited too long to show up, and Jamal got gassed too much to make an effort after his insane three to close the first half. Nuggets had a chance several times to tie this game up in the clutch, and each time failed. It seems like the lights were too bright for the Nuggets tonight, and all the momentum the Nuggets had built up heading into this game have now vanished, especially in the national media eyes. They need to regroup and take care of business on the road. But luckily, this season, they have been an amazing road team. So it's time to stand on business, Nuggets, and take care of it in Minnesota. So let me know in the comments what you think, but this is a big thing for me. I'm not giving up on the Nuggets. After this one loss, okay, yeah, it sucks, but now it's even. You have a chance now to go and win 2 games on the road, which you have been a phenomenal road team. The league forced you to be that, right? Without giving you enough time at home. So now you go on the road and you head into Minnesota, which we've already won 2 games there this last season. So hopefully the Nuggets take care of business. And if nothing else, at least get 1 win. They can't lose 2. That's for sure. They can't lose 2 because then this will lead into a 7-game series. You've got to win at least 1, and you've got at best win 2, at worst win 1. So let's get into stats here before we head out. Cam Johnson played 28 minutes, 13 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 steal. He was 5 for 10 from field, 1 for 6 from 3, 2 for 2 in free throws, 0 turnovers, 5 personal fouls, was a -10. Cam still was really good. You know, he made a couple of bad calls, but that's also because the Timberwolves started to get to the refs, essentially. So some of these fouls that he was getting called were very ticky-tacky. And then Aaron Gordon, who did not have a good game tonight, he played 36 minutes, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. He was 3 for 9 from field, 1 for 4 and 3. 1 for 2 in free throws, 0 turnovers, 4 personal fouls was a -1. Nikola Jokic played 40 minutes tonight, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, 1 block. He shot 8 for 20 from field. That's what I'm talking about. He just did not look like he was really in this game tonight. 1 for 7 and 3. He was bricking the threes. 7 for 7 in free throws. I mean, if Jokic is flopping and going to the line so many times, why did he only get 7? If he shot 20 times, why is he only getting 7 free throws then, huh? Like, it's just really funny when someone calls Jokic and Jamal free throw merchants, which, we'll get to that soon. So, 3 turnovers, 3 personal fouls was a +1. Christian Brown, who I thought had a decent game tonight. He was one of the better players, and he played 35 minutes, got 16 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. He was 5 for 9 from field, 1 for 3 in 3, 5 for 7 in free throws, 0 turnovers, 1 personal foul was a +4. He was tied with Timmy for the highest plus-minus of any Nugget tonight. But Jamal Murray, 42 minutes tonight, the most amount of minutes played by any Nugget, got 30 points, the most points by any Nugget, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 11 for 25 from field, 6 for 14 from 3, 2 for 2 in free throws. That's what I'm talking about. And that 2 for 2 in free throws is 130,000%. I don't care how, the most, obviously 100% is the most, but past that, breaks the percentage, is on Chris Finch. Chris Finch complaining and crying to the refs made sure that Murray didn't get any foul calls. That is 110% on him. Murray still made 30 points though. You can't stop the blue arrow. He still made 30 points. And, I thought that the Timberwolves were going to target Murray and shut him down in this game. They didn't. He still got around them. And that's the difference between this year and 2024. 2024, Jamal was hurt. He wasn't the same Jamal that we're seeing tonight. So yes, Ant had him in handcuffs in 2024. He wasn't the Jamal Murray that we know because he wasn't having the season that he should have had. This is his best season. So we're not getting the same kind of reaction or the same plays or games that we got in 2024. We're getting a much better Jamal. And I think that Ant is having a lot more difficulty trying to defend him. Wasn't the same issue last season or a couple seasons ago. So, and then he also had 4 turnovers, 0 personal fouls, and was a -4. Those 4 turnovers were bad turnovers. There were a couple times where he was getting a little too saucy with the ball and trying to get too fancy. He didn't need to do all of that. He should have easily just gone for the easy bucket. Instead, opted for a really, flashy kind of play that just ended up in an empty possession, essentially. Tim Hardaway Jr., 6th man of the year, man, was pretty much one of my favorite players for the Nuggets tonight. 27 minutes, just showed why he is the 6th man of the year. 16 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. I feel like saves should be a thing on stats for basketball. When you save a ball from going out of bounds, that should be a stat. Because Tim Hardaway Jr., I feel like, got a couple of these. So he also shot 4 for 9 in field, 3 for 3 in 3-point shots, 5 for 8 in free throws, 0 turnovers, 3 personal fouls was a +4. I think he should have been higher than that. I mean, he was just great. He was the best Nugget tonight, in my opinion. Yes, Jamal Murray is always going to be Jamal. Jokic is always going to be Jokic. Christian Brown was great, but Timmy, man, he was just really the defensive end wasn't so great as much as, but that's usual. That's usual Tim Hardaway Jr. So Brucey B also was pretty good in the 16 minutes. The defensive part was really what Bruce was doing. He even had Ant in handcuffs. There was a possession there where he picked the ball off of Ant. Just unfortunately, it went out of bounds. But he almost had that steal. Overall stats, we had 43 rebounds to their 49, so they out-rebounded us. We had 28 assists to their 30. So see, they were making the shots that the Nuggets just weren't able to make. And the ball was getting sent, as you would say, popping for them a little bit. We had 5 steals. They had 6. We had 1 block. They had 2, which is crazy because Jamal had a block and they didn't give it to him. He definitely had a block and they didn't give it to him. That's crazy. We shot 44% from field. They shot 47%. We shot 36% from 3. They shot 41%. We shot 76% from free throws. They shot 63%. So we at least did better there. And I guarantee you if we had shot 90%, this game probably would have ended differently. We had 9 turnovers. They had 12. So they even had more turnovers than us, which is usually a big thing. And if you had been able to convert them into points, then again, completely different game. 24 personal fouls for the Nuggets, 30 personal fouls for the Timberwolves. So, I mean, the Timberwolves just have been consistently a more aggressive team defensively. They've been that way for several years now, ever since really Ant got into the league and they got Rudy Gobert in there. Like, they've just been naturally a more aggressive McDaniels and everything. They've just overall been a very aggressive team. So I'm not surprised by that. I am surprised by the Nuggets in the first quarter matching that aggression and in last game matching that aggression. But they got to keep that consistent. They can't just let it go when the Timberwolves are trying to flip the narrative. You can't let that happen. You got to stay foot on the gas and stay in the game, essentially, your mind and everything. They just weren't mentally tough tonight. So that just is really the unfortunate thing of how it ended. So Timberwolves tied the series, and we're down to trying to pick ourselves back up on the road, which again, I don't think is a terrible place to be. At least we have one in the bag right now. And they had also amped it up that, if the Nuggets had won game 2, then they're statistically better or more in favor of winning a series, whereas the Timberwolves are usually not favored in winning a series. I just think that the second game for the Nuggets is usually one of the most toughest games for them. This could easily be a repeat of game or round 1 of the Nuggets last season, where we went into a 7-game series. I'm really hoping that doesn't happen and the Nuggets don't drop 2 games in a row and have to win game 4. But I would hope that the Nuggets get a bounce back win in game 3. You gotta punch them back after this one. And that's the one thing, though, that I do love about the Nuggets is they do respond pretty well after losing a game. The unfortunate thing, too, is that this would have extended the win streak that the Nuggets had. Nuggets coming into the playoffs had a 12-game winning streak, right? The first game win made it a 13-game winning streak. Now they've ended that. But at least this is the first 13-game winning streak since the 2011-2012 Nuggets, which is pretty cool. So overall games today, we also had the Knicks drop in the game to the Atlanta Hawks. They totally choked and lost 107-106. So we're not alone in losing the second game at home, though the Cavaliers took care of business against the Raptors. They've got a 2-0 series lead on them, 115-105. So next, tomorrow, will be the second game of Celtics and Sixers, as well as the Lakers and Rockets and Spurs and Trailblazers. Man, they are giving the OKC way too much time to recoup from their obliteration of the Suns. I mean, it already we all knew they were going to obliterate the Suns. That first game was case in point. But now you give them 2 days off. Actually, now they've got pretty much more than 2 days off to then recoup. And so they go and they play. I guess technically they also have the Pistons there too, but still. So you got those 2 games. You got the Pistons, Magic, Thunder, and Suns. Crazy that the Magic won on the Pistons. I was very surprised in that. I did not expect them to punch out like that, but they did that. And then the Nuggets will be back at it on Thursday in Minnesota. That's going to be a prime streaming game. And the one thing I want to say real quick before we head out is just that first game, the one thing that really just was unbearable to watch was Candace Parker glazing up the Timberwolves. It seems like she has some kind of vendetta against the Nuggets and could not say a single freaking good thing about the Nuggets. And we saw that again tonight from White Mamba, who, again, could not say a single good thing about the Nuggets. And he hasn't been able to say a good thing about the Nuggets the entire season. Like, if you're going to be that biased against a team, you should not have a job being a national commentator. You're supposed to be unbiased. If you want to be a pro for a team, go be a commentator specifically for that team on their local network, not on the national TV. That was really horrendous on both the Peacock viewing and the Prime viewing. We need to have a more bias kind of commentary on these games. And so far, we have not gotten any kind of praise for the Nuggets so far, despite the fact that they have been the favorites both times. And yet the national media is treating it like the Timberwolves still have the Nuggets name, even though the fact that we won the series this season 3-1, and it's a completely different matchup. Like, they've already lost their Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was one of the best Nuggets defenders. And then we also gained in Brucey B and Tim Hardaway Jr. with the perimeter shooting. Cam Johnson. Big Val is even better than DeAndre Jordan was in getting gritty. I mean, it's just really frustrating when the national media doesn't give you the respect that you'd earn and deserve. But we're going to be the ones that focus on that, whereas the Nuggets do their job and they focus on the game at hand. They don't care about what the national media says, and I love that about them. They'll prove them wrong. And so we'll see what happens on Game 3 there on Thursday. Game 4 then will be on Saturday, and that is an ABC game. So gonna have to find a way to watch that. I don't have any way of watching ABC right now, so I'll have to find a way to watch that so I can give you a little take there. But I'm glad to be back. Thank you for, again, the support, but that's all I got for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe, share it to your friends and family, and if you do feel gracious enough to give me a donation and help out the channel, stay alive and everything, the link for my PayPal is in the description below, and you can go to it, and also on the profile page too, but you can go to it and tack on a take, let me hear from you with these donations. Talk about the team, about the game, or another team, or another game. You can also talk about another sport, or you can talk about movies, because I am a film professor, and I'll shout you out on the next episode. But I really appreciate it. You've been listening to CS 105.1, where we talk about the Nuggets with good vibes. We'll catch you later.